So this was a big hit over the summer. It's called The Guest Book by Sarah Blake. And I hadn't really read Sarah Blake before, but The Postmistress was actually pretty popular when it came out. Postmistress it was more of like an atmospheric World War II story, whereas The Guest Book kind of starts with World War II and then moves through to the present day. So we have a family saga here, 3 different points in history. We start in 1935 with Ogden Milton. Ogden Milton is the latest in a long line of Miltons that stretches back to Harvard's founding. He's blue-blooded, old money, industrialist. He's currently the manager of the family's bank, and he's doing dealings in Berlin. And now this is during the time leading up to World War II, and there's a great deal of anxiety in Berlin at the moment about the behavior of the Nazi Party and what's going to become. Especially among the Jewish communities in Berlin. So that's one thing that's going on, one mystery that we have to solve. Back home, we have Kitty, who is Ogden's beautiful wife, is at home in New York City in the Upper East Side in her penthouse apartment with her 3 children. And she's just had a really relaxing day, but suddenly tragedy strikes. And it is this tragedy that spurs Ogden, upon his return from Berlin, to try to ameliorate the effects of the tragedy by buying an island off the coast of Maine, as you would. So this is this speaks a lot to what Blake, I think, is trying to get across. This island serves as the summer retreat for generations of Miltons all the way through the present day, where we have Evie Milton, who is married to a Jewish man. She's an academic. She's a PhD in history, and her and her cousins, though, her generation of Miltons, are struggling to decide whether or not they can actually afford now to hold on to the island. And for some reason, Evie can't articulate. She is very attached to this island, and she does not want to give it up. But she doesn't fully understand why this island was so important to her mother. Why does her mother want her ashes scattered there? So her mother is dead, has died at this point, and so Evie, in the course of trying to figure out whether or not they should hold on to the island, whether or not they could hold on to the island, visits the island again with her sister, visits the big house on the island. They stay and they go through all of the belongings, and they slowly start to uncover all of these secrets that have long been buried. And this is what I was getting at, what I was about to say before, what Blake seems to be, or she has said herself, is speaking to in this novel is the way in which the people, those who maybe founded America, seem to have this very long tradition of burying secrets and sort of walking through, like forging ahead, and whatever detritus is left along the sides, we'll just ignore, and that's very much what the tradition of the Miltons is. So when the first stop that in Evie's investigation into the history, we also get a story from 1959 where Joan, Evie's mother and Kitty's daughter, and her brother Moss are both engaged with friends who would be considered outside of the circle of, blue-blooded, ultra-rich. And so when these two of their friends visit the island, they're very much considered outsiders. And so there's a party over summer, and more tragedy happens. So really, I think the major figure in this is not just is Kitty herself. We never really get her full story. As much as Blake does uncover through Evie, we don't know quite what Kitty's motivation was, what she's actually thinking, because she's long dead, and she never spoke about any of these the terrible events in her life. So this, and Blake also doesn't necessarily give us the full story, so a lot is left. Sure. But her writing is so atmospheric. We're really very much put in the time period. Donna Seaman from Booklist says, Blake saturates each scene with sensuous emotional vibrancy while astutely illuminating sensitive moral questions. And this is very much the case. I mean, these, it's just, you know, you as thick as the book is, you move through it so quickly. And I'm glad I had a chance to read it. I'm not a big fan of historical fiction typically, but Blake does a really excellent job with historical fiction, so I very much enjoyed it.
Well,
so,
I'm looking forward to it too now, because I actually love historical fiction, so it sounds very fascinating and very much one that you just, once you start reading, you're going to just sort of get sucked into the story and be immersed in what's going on with these characters and the time places, both back in Berlin and then sort of current day on the island. And what's going to happen.
It's very much a story of America as well, in a microcosm, you know, and also mystery fans, I think, will also enjoy it, because there is definitely a mystery to uncover, and there's, you know, kind of twists at the end that we didn't see coming. So, so yeah, it draws you in.